What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, one of the greatest NCAA games of all time, as we pick up with week number 9 action here in the third season of the FCS Dynasty. We come with 8 games on tap as the regular season continues to heat up and that playoff picture becomes more clear. So we're gonna have a fun episode here today, man. 8 games on tap for sure. So I need you guys to go ahead, do me a favor, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do have to be brand new to the channel. As we jump into the very first game of this episode, we got the number 22 ranked Tennessee Martin Skyhawks. They soared to that number 22 ranking, taking on the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. And early on, we will see Tennessee Martin go ahead and give themselves a nice little lead to start out. How about this to get things going? 7-0 lead after a 43-yard interception return for a touchdown. You love to see a pick six to start the game, especially when you're the road team. That is one easy way to go ahead and silence that crowd. We'll see if they can keep that up for an entire fourth quarter effort as Gamera Potter, oh man, gets it out to his receiver. His receiver, I'm pretty sure I saw go ahead and hurdle somebody. We'll go check that replay real quick, and sure enough, he does. That guy went low to try to tackle him, and it certainly did not work out for him. So now Gamera Potter gets it off to his tailback, and right away, Western Kentucky, they are going to go ahead and respond, pounding it right through the middle of that defense. And it's an all tied up game at 7 apiece. Moving on to the second quarter, Hilltoppers, they get back into the red zone, and not one of the better red zone teams in the country, but they do end up coming away not only with points on this drive, but they also get yet another touchdown on this game. And Western Kentucky early takes on the number 22 team in the nation, and they got the lead. Not only do they got the lead, they're actually going to go ahead and extend it here, as Western Kentucky is showing some offensive prowess. They have been capable of doing stuff like this all season long, but they've just been so inconsistent. That's why they're 3-4 on the year. And Tennessee Martin, man, they are going to be in some serious trouble now. Now 24-7 at this point. As we get into the third quarter, Gamera Potter, he is, well, I thought he was in his bag, but he is actually going to throw an interception. Looks like it's an overthrow, and that is going to be an easy pick for Kevin Carter to make. So that's going to be the second interception of the Skyhawks defense. So we'll see if Tennessee Martin can turn around and do something here midway through the second quarter. Still the same score, and they desperately need a play. They're going to get it out to their tailback. Tailback's actually going to try to pass it here, trying to get it back to his quarterback, and that ends up getting intercepted. That's how you know they're getting desperate, when the team that is favored, the team that is ranked in the top 25, taking on an unranked opponent, they try to pull that out to try and get back into this ball game, create some momentum for themselves on offense, because besides that pick six, Tennessee Martin really has not done anything. They have not done a singular thing. So now they need to rely on that defense again to keep it close. Potter, he's got some time in the pocket. He's going to throw it downfield, and it's going to deliver a really good strike, and that is going to be a touchdown for the Hilltoppers. Makes it 31-7 now. Something that I certainly did not see coming when I was originally recording this game. I mean, look at the difference on offense. Western Kentucky has over 300 yards of offense. Tennessee Martin, not even 100 yards to their game. It's been absolutely insane, as we got a fumble recovery, and it will be scooped up by this Hilltoppers defense, and he is going to high step his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Western Kentucky. You know it's bad when they go into a high step on you like that. I will tell you what. And now 38-7. The fumbles, however, just keep coming. Another fumble recovery and another strip straight to the crib. We do see Brian Nance, who did make that catch but did fumble the football. He injures his chest, so maybe that's why he fumbled the football, but you still hate to see it either way. It is now 45-7. Now, if you told me it was going to be 45-7, I figured it would be the Skyhawks in the lead. But instead, it's Western Kentucky as we get into the final play here of the third quarter, trying to get some sort of momentum, just something to get you to feel good. And man, does this really not feel good whatsoever. Another turnover, and it gets taken back to the crib again. Another pick six. So 2 pick sixes, 28 defensive points for the Hilltoppers today. You can't make this up, as Western Kentucky wins convincingly in this one. They win 55-14 in what will ultimately remove them from the top 25 polls. As now we go ahead and jump into the game of the week, as we got some intense action in Conference USA. 2 top 15 teams meeting up on the same football field, and huge implications as well in the Conference USA East. UCF is currently on top right now. They're 5-0, but Eastern Carolina, they're a game and a half behind. They still have to play one more conference game than what UCF has to do. So if UCF can win this game, they will effectively clinch the Conference USA East and make a trip to the Conference USA championship game, while Eastern Carolina, if they can win this game themselves, they won't clinch the divisional title, but they will be able to control their own destiny. So a lot riding for both teams, as both could always use that extra win, particularly Eastern Carolina. They're on the edge in terms of at-large bids, and how about this to get going? Not only an interception, but it's going to be taken all the way to the crib somehow. I don't know how he found that space. Seems like there was a lot of UCF guys that were possibly in position to make a tackle, but just was not able to do just that. That convoy was pretty decent as well. So a 12-0 lead for the Eastern Carolina Pirates, as Richard Fisher, new quarterback for Eastern Carolina, he's going to go ahead, throw it towards the end zone, and throws it up for his tight end. And his tight end is going to be able to go ahead and make the catch. Touchdown Pirates, as that makes it now 19-0. As Eastern Carolina looks to prove that they are still a team that is more than capable of making a deep run into the FCS playoffs, because it has not been the most consistent season for this Eastern Carolina squad, and they are certainly utilizing that home field advantage. Number 1 toughest place in the country. Chuck Dodd can barely hear anybody, trying to get something going on the play action, and finds a man in the back of the end zone. Touchdown Knights, as UCF, this number 4 team in the country, they finally get themselves on the board, and we'll see if they can make some kind of comeback here. But Chuck Dodd, he's going to throw yet another interception. And not only is it going to be picked off here by Ivan Soledis, it is going to be taken all the way back to the crib. So the second defensive touchdown for Eastern Carolina, as the Pirates look to open up this lead even further. Fourth quarter, 36-7 lead in favor of Eastern Carolina. UCF, they've basically given up on this game. They're going to punt the football away, but instead of just playing a little bit conservative, run out the clock, they're going to add some more points to that board. Like I said, in the world of college football is the only sport where those style points really do matter, and we saw a style points moment here. Eastern Carolina makes it a really impressive win. Already a really impressive win. They blow out the number 4 team in the country. And now, on top of this win, Eastern Carolina, they now control their own destiny in the Conference USA East Division. So a huge win for the Pirates. But that was not the only top 25 matchup that we got going on. We go over to the West Coast. We got some whack action. We got the number 18 ranked Idaho Vandals taking on an undefeated New Mexico State squad, coming in ranked number 12 in the nation. Also some huge implications as well. New Mexico State sitting all alone on top of the WAC, but if Idaho can win this game, they too will be able to go ahead and control their destiny. We'll have to see what else unfolds throughout the conference as we take a look at this New Mexico State quarterback, Jimmy Ward. Solid season for him so far, 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, solid year for him. But Marcus Cannon, he's having a great year so far. I'm surprised he does not have the impact star, because he's making impact plays as he throws it into triple coverage there. and just threw it to a spot where only his guy can come down and make the catch. 83-yard touchdown for one of the first offensive plays of the game. Great protection, too, for Marcus Cameron. That's going to make a touchdown pass number 15 on the year. And the Idaho Vandals will go ahead and strike some blood. As now, 3rd and short from the 3-yard line. We'll see if they go to that passing game again. As now, Cameron under center. Barely can hear anything. Number 2 toughest place in the country. Cameron looks over the middle and finds the tight end amid all the traffic that happens inside the 5-yard line. It's not easy to score from down here. You got to pay attention to the details, and we certainly saw that. Able to find what was required, and that's going to extend this lead of 14-3. As now, 3rd and short once again from the 2-yard line. Cameron looking for his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. Will they go to his arm? We'll have to wait and see as we finally get the snap. It's going to be thrown short. Another tight end that is going to get involved, and it's going to be yet another touchdown for the Idaho Vandals as they are vandalizing this poor Aggie squad. 21-3 is your score right now, and we still got a bunch of action left to play as Cameron throws to the left, and this time a wide receiver is going to get involved. So we've seen a few different people with touchdown catch to this point as the Vandals race their way to a 31-3 lead. It has been an absolute slaughterfest. As now we'll see special teams getting a little bit involved as that's going to be taken all the way down the sideline. Touchdown, Idaho. That makes it 38-3. What the score is right now. As now, Jimmy Ward drops back, looks, gonna throw it to the right-hand side. He's got a man as well, and all of this talk about Marcus Cameron's got to make it known that, hey, I can do a little something with the football as well, especially when I'm given the time that we just saw right there. So 38-13 game in favor of Idaho as New Mexico State's trying to pull that comeback, but it just really was not meant to be today as Idaho, they just looked, particularly on the offensive side of football, they looked extremely sharp in this game. That's the 5th touchdown pass for Marcus Cameron, and it was a career performance for him for sure. As Idaho, they will win 48-30 in spite of a bunch of garbage points from the New Mexico State Aggies. So we've definitely seen some surprising scores so far, and that is not just limited to the gameplay. How about what's going on in Sim right now? As Southeast Missouri State is going to take the L at home, they lose to Tennessee Tech 24-10, and that is going to be a huge second loss for them while Tennessee Tech improves to 4-3. As for the defending national champions, Kent State, they're starting to find that groove a little bit more as they take on their conference opponent, Ball State. They do end up winning 28-16 to try to get into that top 15. Rice also continuing its excellent season so far. They win 41-21 against the Charleston Cougars. Rice now going to be 7-0. Speaking of impressive campaigns, Temple has put in a good year together as they beat the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. Temple winning 31-9 in order to improve to 6-1 in the year. As for Youngstown State, how about this for a surprise? They blow out Sanford, who just a couple of weeks ago, they were almost ranked in the top 15. So Sanford now on a 3-game losing streak after this 30-point loss to the Youngstown State Penguins. Now, as for Eastern Michigan, the Eagles might be in serious trouble of missing the playoffs for the very first time. Now 5-3 after a 5-point loss to a under 500 Ohio Bobcats team. Huge upset in the MAC. Speaking of some upsets, we might see a different team from the Ivy League go to the FCS playoffs as Penn throttles Brown 45-10. Penn is now 5-3 and they control their own destiny now in the Ivy League. Texas Southern, however, having a nice season despite the fact that they are under NCAA probation. They beat Jackson State on the road 45-26 in order to remain in the top 25. However, Chattanooga State in the AP Top 25 poll might be short-lived as they This is their first time ranked in the top 25, and they actually lose on the road to Prairie View A&M 31-21. It was nice while it happened. With that being said, we'll keep it on the West Coast for a while as we go all the way out to California to watch Montana State go on the road to take on the Sacramento State Hornets, a nationally televised game. Top 35 matchup, so two very good teams that can still very well sneak into the FCS playoffs, as Sacramento State right now, they are currently sitting all by themselves on top of the Pac-10 conference. They have a chance to clinch their first FCS playoff berth in this series, but they got to take care of business against Montana State, who is off to a strong start, but they haven't been able to do much of anything, as now Montana State, they're going to have to find a way to contain Jacob Hill. 39 catches on the year. He's got 7 touchdowns, and he's been on a tear these past couple of games. We'll see if that continues here as Corey Hall, he's going to fire one over the middle, gets it out to his running back, Chris Garcia, and it doesn't even go anywhere, and the dude still got lit up like a Christmas tree, so you hate to see it. 3rd and long here for the Hornets as Corey Hall, he gets some time in the pocket, finds his other running back, and that will be good for a first down there. All by himself, nobody accounting for him in the zone coverage, and just found a soft spot in the defense as it sets up the Sacramento State. Touchdown to Jacob Hill. That's going to be his 8th receiving touchdown of the season, 5 of which happening in the last couple of games. He, like I said, man, he has been on a tear, and it gives Sacramento State a 7-0 lead. Later on in the game, Montana State trying to keep up with this Hornets squad as we get a nice pass over the middle. Nice ball placement there by Maurice Billings. As we now got 2nd down coming up, 2nd and 10 from the 49 as Billings does the play action. Tries to get it out. Back to Marcus Fry, but it's going to be intercepted. Sean Robertson responsible for that INT. And Sacramento State is once again going to be set up in Montana State territory. We'll see if Hall and company can take advantage of the field position as we got a 3rd and short. Gets it out to the tailback, Garcia, who takes it all the way to the end zone. And sure enough, Sacramento State, they cash in on the extra possession. And it is now going to be a 14-0 lead. Sacramento State proving that, hey, maybe this team should be ranked in the top 25. They're certainly looking the part so far. As right after that touchdown, Montana State, they are going to get the football. It's Marcus Van, who's got some space down the sideline. He can scoot. He is certainly him, as he is going to find the end zone for the very first time for the Montana State Bobcats. Now just a 1-possession game. A little bit of pressure now on Sacramento State as we see Jacob Hill originally make the catch. It was fumbled. His running back picks it up. He fumbles it as well. And then on the second time around, Montana State eventually goes ahead and picks up the fumble. So second time is the charm. And now Montana State with a chance to tie this game as Billings gets it out on the perimeter. Good spacing on the outside. Good. How about this footwork? Oh my goodness. That was absolutely incredible footwork there on the sideline. We got to check that out one more time. Like, it was going to be a big game regardless. Both guys trying to push him out of bounds, but probably should have gone with the arm tackles instead. And it's going to be a tie ball game because of it. And now Carlos Hall trying to lead his team downfield. 1st and 10 once again from the 19. Gets it out to Chris Garcia. He's got the outside. Got one man left to beat. He can't get around this safety. That could have very well saved a touchdown, but it's good for a 20-plus yard gain. As the Hornets continue to drive downfield. Looks to the right-hand side. Gets it out to Jacob Hill there, who makes another really big catch down the sideline. And it will be another red zone opportunity for the Hornets. As I thought he went out of bounds there a little bit earlier, but that was not the case. So 4th and goal. Get it to Chris Garcia. And Sacramento State reasserts itself on top of the leaderboards as they take the lead against their conference opponent, making it 21-14 being your score at the moment. Later in the game, 2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line. Carlos Hall having a solid day, by the way. And he's going to go ahead and get a quick audible in. 1 minute left to play here in this first half as Hall does climb up in the pocket, but he's going to throw an interception right in the hands of Marcus Limbaum. As now Montana State, with a minute left to play here, they could go forth and tie this football game up. Next possession for Montana State is going to be absolutely huge. We'll see if they can capitalize. Second goal line situation, and Maurice Billings hands us to his tailback, who finds a hole right up the middle and dives into the end zone. And it keeps it a close game now. Still got could go either direction, but then in that second half, we saw Sacramento State really assert itself, really play up to its full capability, as Maurice Billings is going to throw yet another interception. That has been a problem for him this year. He throws for a lot of yards. He throws for all these touchdowns, but, you know, he is a risk taker. He is a gunslinger, and that is indicated by his high interception numbers, and that is no different here today. His second interception that he throws in this ball game, as now the lead extended for 10 points for Sacramento State, as we're trying to look over the middle, but that is also going to be intercepted. So another pick on Maurice Billings, and Sacramento State, this defense got him bamboozled, got him flabbergasted, and now a real chance for him to really blow this game wide open. As we got a goal line situation few plays later, Corey Hall, does he go out to Jacob Hill? He does! He does, and he gets another touchdown out of it. Oh my goodness, Jacob Hill, he is him. That is his second receiving touchdown of the game, and number 9 on the season. You want to talk about a guy that could sneak his way onto the All-American list? Jacob Hill has to be that sneaky candidate. No one was talking about him going into his freshman year as well. How about that throw by Maurice Billings? Diving catch as well. Puts it only in a spot where his receiver can make the play. Is now first and goal from the 1. Can Montana State punch it into the end zone? And yes, they will. Touchdown, Bobcats. So trying to keep up, but they need to stop on defense. Can Montana State deliver on the defensive end? And it's not looking good. Another huge play in the passing game. Corey Hall just slicing and dicing this defense up all day long. And it's now going to be 5 red zone opportunities for Sacramento State. As now Corey Hall under center, dropping back, looking, going with the play action, throws across his body and throws it into the end zone, and it is caught by a Sacramento State receiver. Touchdown, Hornets. How about that 40 burger getting that going? This offense certainly came out to play, as we now got a 45-28 lead here, as Sacramento State is going to kick it back off to the Bobcats. Visiting on the road, we did see Kev Stamper suspended in the first half, but he is back for the second half and immediately making a difference on this game. Stamper going to run it into the end zone. It's a touchdown for Montana State. And once again, back to a 10-point game. We'll see if any of these defenses can stand up and make something happen consistently, and sure enough, we do. This might be taken all the way to the crib. Chris Garcia, the last line of defense, to finally go ahead and bring him down, as Montana State is going to be set up inside the 30-yard line. As Corey Hall, he was trying to find the true freshman Jacob Hill, trying to bring it to him and continue his historic 2-game stretch. But unfortunately for Montana State, they can't do anything about it. No points on the board. They are actually knocked out of field goal range and forced to punt the football away. And here's Chris Garcia breaking one loose, one defender to beat. He can't get the stiff arm on the last guy, but how about Chris Garcia having himself a day? 18 carries in this ball game. He now has over 10 yards a carry, and that includes some really home run kind of runs like the one that we saw, but give credit to the safety. He takes a heck of an angle. If that angle was a little bit worse, that's a touchdown. But now Sacramento State's got to work for it a little bit more. Chris Garcia got to get the football once again. Stiff arms a man into the next dimension, and Chris Garcia will indeed find the end zone. Touchdown, Hornets. I mean, look at that trucking ability. He doesn't seem like a dude that can, pull those kinds of moves, but, he's a complete back. That's why he's an impact player for this emerging Sacramento State squad, and we're going to go ahead, run away, win this game by a pretty big margin, but let me go to say this. It was an exciting game the entire time. 59-35 ends up being your final score. Heck of a game to watch, but Sacramento State is going to go ahead and continue to improve its record on the year, as we will see the Sacramento State Hornets improve to 5-2. While Montana State, they were off to a really great start. They were ranked in the top 25 at some point. They are now just 3-4 on the season. And now we jump to see the #1 team in all of America, the New Hampshire Wildcats, going on the road, taking on another team that is actually ranked in the top 25, North Carolina A&T. They've been playing a lot over the course of this season. They still have not had a single bye week in the entire year. But NCAA, they're holding it down pretty well, 6-2 overall. They are sitting on top of the conference standings as of right now, so this game will help determine who will have driver's seat control, as New Hampshire is about a half game behind at the moment. We'll see if they can notch a top 25 win on the road, or will North Carolina A&T, will this be a coming out party for them? We'll have to wait and see, as we will go ahead and watch this initial kickoff as this game is officially underway between two more top 25 teams in the FCS. And how about this to get it going? Dante Randolph, the true sophomore, coming out here, man. He is going to go ahead and get a nice touchdown on the board, as a true sophomore will give North Carolina A&T a 7-0 lead. But big key in this one, gotta find a way to stop Carlos Montoya, because you already know Montoya, he's a bad man. Getting it to his playmakers on the outside, and it's nearly a touchdown. I'm actually surprised that it didn't make it all the way into the end zone, but North Carolina A&T, gotta give them credit. They have improved in terms of bringing in more athletes, just so that they can take down New Hampshire a little bit more here, as that could have almost been called an unsportsmanlike penalty. He was celebrating a little bit too long. Sometimes that does end up being an unsportsmanlike conduct and would have brought him back 15 yards, but still much easier goal line situation inside the 10-yard line. We'll see if Carlos Montoya can go ahead and get this ball into the end zone, as we'll see Carlos Montoya drop back. He's got a nice clean pocket and delivers a good football to Zach Howe, the running back that comes out of the backfield. And it is going to be all knotted up at 7 apiece here. And speaking of Zach Howe, he gets some great blocking on the outside. No one's going to catch him. Wait a minute. One safety has a chance. He can't bring the tackle in. And that's going to be another touchdown for New Hampshire. The Wildcats are going wild here in the first quarter, especially their offense. As Zach Howe, that was a direct snap. That was just great blocking on the outside as well, getting the blocks that he needs, and he does the rest of the work, making that one-on-one safety miss. And it's still a close game despite all of that. 3:21 left to play in the second quarter. Carlos, we're going to go one-on-one. He's got a man, and he comes down with it. Touchdown, New Hampshire. And now 21-7. There is a reason why this team is ranked #1 in the entire country. And we are starting to see it here. Carlos Montoya playing well, man. He is playing really well in this game. A lot better than what we saw in the beginning of the season. It was a rough start for him for sure. And now North Carolina A&T, they are going to go ahead and trying to get something going with their running game. But they fumble the football on the ground. And New Hampshire is going to recover it. The Wildcats going wild once again. As North Carolina A&T, you hate to see it. They were putting together a little bit of a drive, a little bit dink and dunk action. Thought they had something working. But now their defense needs to make a huge play in order for this game to not get out of hand. And this is not what they were talking about. Huge play, but it was for the offense yet again, as Carlos Montoya able to find his target. got to get some pressure on this quarterback because he is slicing this defense apart. And it's a solid defense too. Almost pulled the upset on Akron back in week number 1. As we'll see Zach Howe running into the end zone once again. Touchdown, New Hampshire. A nice balanced attack for sure. We saw big plays both in the rushing and the passing attack. And speaking of that rushing attack, how about Zach Howe getting loose again? Breaks some tackles, and he is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, New Hampshire. Just running all over North Carolina A&T today. 35-7 is your score now. And look at his blocking. The blocking was great. He makes both safeties miss as well. 2 guys had a chance to bring him down. Could have been a gang tackle, but instead he runs through both of them. You hate to see it. But we now jump into the 4th quarter now as we see the backups in the game a little bit because New Hampshire, they do have a pretty big margin built in at this point. But even with the backups that are coming into the game, they're still making a huge difference as this backup quarterback who, to be honest with you, I'm actually not completely sure who this guy's name is. Maybe we'll pop up a little bit later. We'll see. I'm just drawing a complete blank right now, but he's not going to be pulling up some blanks on the scoreboard, that's for sure. The box score definitely getting busy with it as backup tailback J.D. McCoy is going to run it into the end zone. Another touchdown for New Hampshire as the Wildcats, they win a big one and they win a good one. It ends up being an absolute blowout for New Hampshire. Huge win for the number 1 team in the country as they continue to prove why they're the number 1 team. North Carolina A&T, they shouldn't be punished all that much for playing a number 1 squad, but they will probably still be outside the top 25. Now, if you think the gameplay has been exciting, wait until I talk to you guys about the sim. Let me tell you what, we have some exciting action going on, which really shows the beauty of college football. Northwestern State, first and foremost, they lose in overtime to Furman by a final score of 41-35. So Northwestern State drops to 5-2, while Furman does get a big-time win on the road. Speaking of big-time wins, San Diego State notching a big-time win from a margin standpoint. They blow out their conference opponent, South Dakota, as San Diego Aztecs win 46-7. As they show why they are indeed the number 2 team in college football as of right now. However, that being said, some huge ripple effects, games with huge implications. Illinois State, they beat Central Michigan 21-17 as the Chippewas, they will actually suffer their first loss of the entire season. However, that being said, not everyone was so lucky in terms of underdogs as Richmond has his back blown out as they lose big to Tulane. The Green Wave soaring through 38-6 as they improve to 6-2 here in year number 3. So we move on now to the thumbnail game that we got going on. We got the number 20th ranked Nicholls State Colonels taking on an unranked Sam Houston State squad, although they are receiving votes in the AP Top 25. It's going to be really interesting to see how this game turns out, as we know Georgia Southern's really good. We know Northwestern State is built different too, but we've really seen the depth of the SEC really get better between last season and where we're at right now. A win for Sam Houston State could get them into the top 25. You never know, but they're going to have to find a way to, get some big plays against one of the better corners in this conference, Henry Johnson, and he is only a true freshman. So we'll see the Sam Houston squad, who does like to air the football out. Can they get enough possessions to win this game? And they got to get some stops on Frederick McNair, the sophomore custom, throwing to a fellow custom, Deuce Randolph. One-on-one coverage, a linebacker on him, and that's going to be barbecue chicken every single time. So now Nicholls State, he is going to go ahead and drive upfield early, but Frederick McNair is going to put the football on the ground, and Sam Houston State, the Cats are going to go ahead and pick up this fumble. So a great start for Sam Houston State. We'll see if they can turn around and do something with this offensive possession. 3rd and long from just the 5-yard line. Wait a minute now. We got Miniachi making some plays, making some people miss as well. And that is going to be a 95-yard touchdown. The longest pass that we have seen in the FCS Dynasty in this entire series. That's Albert Miniachi's little brother, who you guys know starts at Georgia Southern at that running back position. His little bro doing some big things there, making some contributions. And speaking of contributions, Greg Roberts, guy that I was talking about, one of these corners, able to get the interception on the next possession. So the KARDIAC Cats, they're going to be put at bay as of right now, as this game will go ahead and remain tied. We'll see if this offense can get going, though. McNair going to fake the handoff. He's going to throw towards the end zone. He's got a guy, and it's caught off the deflection. Speedy Woods stays with it here. It was a little bit overthrown as the safety tries to make the over-the-shoulder grab. Can't make the play. It will ultimately cost them a touchdown, but Sam Houston State, they came to play today. They're trying to put the upset alert, and here comes those KARDIAC Cats. 14-7 lead. Another massive play for Sam Houston State. This one goes for 71 yards. And Sam Houston State, they are going to go ahead, and they are going to take the lead. 2 minutes left in the first half. Frederick McNair trying to get another offensive touchdown for his team before halftime, as McNair tries to throw it to the left-hand side, and just a very questionable decision, as that ball was thrown in triple coverage. Like, you guys saw that too, right? Like, we can't be out here doing that, man. You hate to see it, as that's going to be an interception most of the time when you throw into triple coverage. And I don't know what he was thinking there. I really don't know what he was thinking. But Sam Houston State's going to be set up with great field position, starting in the red zone, matter of fact, as they got a play action. Going to be a good throw over the right-hand side, and it ends up being caught. And that is going to be a touchdown for the Bearcats here. A 21-7 lead. Did not see this coming either. The upsets have really been something else in this episode, I'll tell you what. But Frederick McNair, he throws another interception. This time, not all on him. It does get deflected at the line of scrimmage. And that's just bad luck, unfortunately. It happens to the best of us. But it does not help the Sam Houston squad right now, as that's going to be another touchdown for Nicholls State. What is this defense actually doing right now? I am so confused. They look like they are bamboozled. They look like they are flabbergasted. A 28-7 lead for Sam Houston State. You love to see it. As now, 28-7 game still. Looking downfield, tries to get it out to his receiver. Comes down and makes the catch. David Bullock. He is him today. I will tell you what. That is not an easy throw to make. You got to make that decision quickly before the safety gets over there. And it leads to yet another touchdown drive. Another touchdown for Sam Houston State that is going to make it 35-7. And we still got a whole half of football left to play. The KARDIAC Cats, they are certainly giving Nicholls State a heart attack at this moment. I'll tell you what. So now we jump into the second half of action here, as we'll see if Sam Houston State can hold on to win this football game. But even though they got this really big lead right now, what I love that they're doing right now is that they are continuing to be aggressive. And it's showing, man. They are going to continue to push this ball downfield. They are not going to wait for this clock to hit triple zeros. They're going to come in for the kill, and they're going to do it quickly as we get another big run. Jamal Williams just been doing his thing. 11.6 yards a carry today. That is incredible. That is a first down every time he touches the football. We'll see if they keep going to him as they're down here in the red zone. They actually set up a play action as they throw towards the end zone. Double coverage. But his guy is still going to come down with it anyways. Another touchdown for Sam Houston State. That makes it 42-7. And look, the coverage was good. He reacted to the football, just a perfect throw right where it needed to be. And even the good old-fashioned... No! That pass play actually doesn't work. The running back really puts it on the money there. Safety gets it loose, though. And it's a goal line situation anyways. As Sam Houston State, they will... Gonna put a nice little bow tie on this game. And how about this? 63-7 ends up being the game. Beating a top 20 team and doing this to them. Incredible. Speaking of teams that are incredible, we'll see if Georgia Southern got it in them as well, as we will go ahead and see them take on McNeese State, who is just outside the top 40. So if they can find a way to win this football game, they can go fourth and they can possibly work themselves a little bit closer to the top 25, get themselves in a better position for the SEC. They're 2 games back right now. If they want to make it to the conference championship, they got to find a way to get past Georgia Southern. Plain and simple. We'll see if they got what it takes, as both teams are going to go ahead and take the field right now, led by their star quarterback, Ikeda Woods, which, listen, I know you guys see those passing stats. I know it's not that impressive, but you got to realize, you want to talk about the best running quarterback in the NCAA down here at the FCS level, it's Ikeda Woods. So, going to have their hands full, as Kevin White, it's not going to be about Ikeda Woods. Kenny White, the sophomore quarterback, gets his chance to be the starting quarterback and takes advantage early. Kenny White throwing an absolute dot in the back of the end zone. And that's what you got to do against Georgia Southern. You got to put him in situations where you got to make Ikeda Woods pass the football. He's still capable of doing it, and we saw it right there, getting Albert Miniachi involved in the passing game. But at least if Ikeda Woods beats you with the arm, you'll feel a lot better about that. But it's Albert Miniachi that finds the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. And that was a tough earned touchdown. He had to go through a bunch of bodies there. But it's still a pretty tight game. All knotted up at 7 apiece. But then we jump into the second half. And in that second half, Georgia Southern really starts to take over, as Williams takes it all the way downfield. He is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. So for the first time today, the Eagles will take a lead in this football game. And is this the part where we see McNeese State start to fall apart a little bit? We do see the punt return. No, wait a minute. McNeese State, they get a defensive recovery. Hang on now. We might have ourselves a football game after all. How about this? McNeese State hanging tough. They're able to get down and get a field goal, and they cut the deficit to 4. So we'll see if they can still find a way to contain this rushing attack. But Ikeda Woods, he's on that Heisman list for a reason. And Ikeda Woods, man, we just saw right there. That was really good contained by McNeese State. Just no one could bring him down. It's supposed to be a couple of tackles made right there. And, you know, unfortunately it didn't happen. He's very elusive. He continues to amaze me, man. That's for sure. It's 21-10 now. Kenny White now under serious pressure to keep his team in this game. Huge third down coming up. They go with the play action. He's got some time initially. He's got all the time in the world to throw. Throws it downfield and able to drop that one off. Kenny White doing something in this one. Over 200 yards of passing here. Gonna need a lot more than that, but Kenny White, he has came to play today. We'll see if he has another third down in him. Looking downfield. He's looking for a strike, and he tries to drop it in the bucket, but Tyrell Williams is going to say access denied, my guy, as that is going to be a Georgia Southern turnover that they are able to force on the defensive end. And now defense really needs to step up here. This game could get out of hand. Woods pitches it out to Albert Miniachi. No one gets the pitch, man. He hits the stop and go. Oh my goodness. He is gone. And Albert Miniachi, I'll tell you what, he is going to be a bad man, as Georgia Southern now makes it 28-10. That is what this score is going to be right now. Oh my goodness gracious. How about this stop and go? Really stopping on a dime. You know, just that NCAA 14 cheese that we're seeing right there on the field. If you know, you know. And that's why I love these PS2 NCAA games. You know, we don't see the CPU use those, you know, spin moves, jukes very often. You know, we see more of that in these PS2 games. It makes them a little bit more difficult than what we see on the PS3. And speaking of difficulties, McNeese State just having a tough time at this point, trying to keep it at least manageable in terms of a margin, as Kenny White's going to throw an interception. That's going to be taken all the way to the crib. And Georgia Southern, they will indeed run away with this game, as 2 minutes left to play here in the first half. It looks like Georgia Southern is going to be more than content to go ahead and run the rest of this clock out. Another option play. Gets it out to Albert Miniacci and practically untouched until he gets it into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. And the number 8 team in the country, showing why they are where they currently are right now. As Georgia Southern will, of course, win this football game. McNeese State, they will go ahead and get a couple of garbage time touchdowns there in the fourth quarter, but still doesn't change that final result, as Georgia Southern will continue what's been an impressive season, trying to prove that they are capable of winning these big games. But McNeese State, they might be out of the running for an FCS playoff spot. So that takes us to the final game that we got going on in this episode. Actually, a rivalry game that we have out here in the Pac-10 Conference. We got number 23 Montana going over to Woodward Field and taking on the Eastern Washington Eagles, who are led by both Carl Jonathan Thousand and Ballhawk Woods, a couple of your guys' custom prospects. As we saw the conference standings that are going on right now, Eastern Washington had a really good non-conference slate. They did what they needed to do, but since they got into conference play, it's been a little bit of a different story. We'll see if they can turn it around against their hated rivals. And unfortunately, and I know this might come up in the comment section too, so Eastern Washington, they actually do have a red field. The field is green. I think that's reflected in the newest NCAA Next Mod update. I just have not been able to go ahead and get that update for you guys, and that's why I haven't been as consistent with getting uploads to you guys. Work has been crazy, a bunch of other stuff been happening, but we're trying to shake back, we're trying to be more consistent with it, trying to really work those weekends, as trying to get through the next couple of weeks with my with my insanity. But going back to the game though, 10-0 lead for Montana already here, as Carl Thousand trying to make something happen here, but really a ill-advised pass, and that's going to be an easy interception for Montana. That's going to be taken all the way back to the crib as well. So most of the points that Montana has scored in this game to this point, it is all, and I mean literally all of them, are actual, they're caused by the defensive side of the football. So 17-0 game. We'll see if Eastern Washington can get back on track, as Carl Thousand actually going to take a pretty big sack in the backfield as he was trying to go ahead and escape the pocket there, but Montana was able to get to him. And it's now 3rd and long from the 20-yard line. Got to pick up 15 for the first down. Carl, he wants it all, though. Going forward downfield, and it's going to be caught. How about this throw by Carl Thousand? He's got a big-time arm, and we saw it right there. Dropped it right in the bucket. And now the Eagles are on the move, trying to threaten to get points on the board for the very first time in this game, as Thousand under center here. We're going to drop back the pass. Carl looks to his left, tries to dump it off, but Ryan Manning, he does get hurt. He does injure his shoulder, so hopefully he is going to be a-okay. But man, another interception for Carl Thousand. That's interception number 3 in the first half. We'll see if they end up benching him or if they stick with him. But for now, Travis Slaughter, he's going to do his thing. Going to throw it deep downfield, and that will also be caught. Touchdown, Montana. 24-0 now being a score, and this has to be a really satisfying feeling right now if you are a Montana Grizzlies fan, as that was, this is your rival that you were talking about, right? At least one of your rivals. It's not the rivalry game. It's like their secondary rival. But that being said, though, Eastern Washington, they're doing their thing, man. 24-0. But Travis Slaughter, he will take the sack. So that will back them up a little bit. They don't need to get into the end zone in order to pick up this first down. But at 2nd and 18 from the 22-yard line, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting for sure, but they do get it to a 3rd and 1, and Travis Slaughter is actually going to keep it himself here, and he is going to run it into the end zone. Touchdown, Grizzlies. That now makes it a 31-0 lead for Montana. You'll love to see it. But now we go into the second half of action here. Eastern Washington, one thing that they do have going for them is that they did defer to the second half. They can't play any worse than what they're playing right now, and they actually will play a little bit better here. They will actually go ahead and get themselves on the board, as we do see a special teams touchdown for this Eastern Washington squad, and no flags either, so the touchdown will stand. Eastern Washington will finally get themselves on the board as we jump in a little bit later into the third quarter. Travis Slaughter actually does end up suffering a concussion here in the second half, so their backup quarterback comes to the game, but they still have Brian Hurst, though. And Brian Hurst, you know, he is him, man. He is absolutely him, as it sets up another red zone opportunity for Montana. 1st and 10 from the 19. Do they go to Brian Hurst? No, it's a pass play straight up, looking to the end zone. No, it's not Connor in the end zone, but it will end up being a touchdown anyways for the Montana Grizzlies. And how about this, manipulating the pocket and then also making a couple guys miss as well, as Montana, they take care of their business. They will win 41-14, improving to 5-2, while Eastern Washington is back to 500. Now, before I officially show the ESPN magazine, I wanted to talk to you guys about the couple of games that went down the 8 o'clock slate. We have Western Carolina taking their frustration out in a close loss to Texas Southern last week. They take it out on Grambling as they win 42-10 to bolster up their record to 5-2 to try to get back into the top 10. Speaking of top teams in action, James Madison had a little bit of a challenge from Hampton. It was close in the first half, but James Madison ultimately pulling away in the second half, winning 53-25 as James Madison, after that 1-2 start, now on a 4-game winning streak. And now, we'll see what that new Sports Illustrated magazine has in store for us. Alright boys, so we are now getting into that final third of the year. Things are definitely heating up, and how about the Rice Owls featured on the Sports Illustrated magazine? Started out as a team that was not even ranked in the top 25, and yet here they are coming into week number 10 after all the gameplay has been finished. They're number 4 in the country right now, so very impressive stuff. Top 2 do remain the same. New Hampshire and San Diego State, they do remain at the top. James Madison also jumps to number 3 in the country. We do also have North Dakota State and Georgia Southern moving up a couple of spots. Same with Western Carolina. The Catamounts back in the top 10, having a good year despite being on NCAA probation right now. They got that 2-year ban from the FCS playoffs, but right now, not really affecting them like that. So you love to see it. Temple moves up 7 spots. Idaho is up 8 spots as well. Lots of movement in the top 25 this week, at least outside of the top 5. Kent State's up to 12. UCF falls to 13 after their blowout loss. They got to go play Temple, so that will be a difficult matchup for them. New Mexico State, they were blown out quite a bit. The game was uglier than what the score says. They only fall 3 spots. Central Michigan, though, with the biggest drop in the top 25, number 16 in the country, after a surprising loss to the Redbirds of Illinois State. That's our biggest drop of this poll. And then, of course, rounding out the group, we got Montana at 17. Southeast Missouri State, they're at number 18 in the country. Texas Southern moves up 6 spots. They're at 19. Northwestern State still at number 20. But then some newcomers. SMU, Tulane, Mid-Tennessee State, UNLV. And then rounding out the group after a really impressive win, Sam Houston State, number 25 in the country. How about those KARDIAC Cats putting some cardiac arrest into Nicholls State? As we'll check out some of the teams also receiving votes. Sacramento State's in there. North Carolina A&T, despite the loss to New Hampshire. Chattanooga, Tennessee State, Nicholls State, like I said, also all still receiving votes. As for what this Heisman watch is looking right now, we do have a new person on top of the Heisman watch. Ryan Vaughn, a freshman quarterback from San Diego State. He is him. 180 for 248, 2,700 yards passing, 28 touchdowns. He is that dude. And his teammate right there, right along with him, up to second place. He has nearly 1,000 yards receiving already, 10 touchdowns to go with it. The senior wide receiver trying to finish his college career out on top, of course. But then we also have Ikeda Woods. He's been a mainstay for this Georgia Southern team. Number 3 at the moment. He already has 1,500 yards of total offense, plus 19 total touchdowns. That is certainly warranted for one of the best teams in the country. But then, some 2 newcomers in here. Robert Johnson, the senior from Rice. He's a huge reason why the Owls have been having a really resurgent season here in season number 3. So you love to see that. And then rounding out the group, David Bourne, true sophomore, 1,400 all-purpose yards, 10 touchdowns to go with it. Dude is an absolute weapon, and it rounds out really an amazing group here in the top 5 in terms of the Heisman watch. And finally, for the players of the week on the offensive side of football, Stephen Rogers, quarterback for James Madison, wins it. He had a huge day against the I believe it was Hampton that they do go up against. 53-25 was your final score. Huge performance for him. 540 yards, 7 total touchdowns. He accounts for 49 of the 53 points that this team scores. Absolutely insane. And Stephen Rogers, doing his best to, live up to the shoes of the previous regime. Certainly getting that here. And then defensive side of football. How about this? Western Kentucky's John Mills, the left outside linebacker, true senior, helping out with the beatdown of Tennessee Martin to absolutely kick them out of the top 25. 4 tackles, 2 forced fumbles as well, and a defensive touchdown that helps power the Hilltoppers to get to 500. So we're getting into the final stages of the season now. We're now in week number 10 already here in season number 3 of the FCS Dynasty. So not only will we have the typical gameplay action, you'll check out some scores from around the league as things are starting to heat up, we will also take a look at the conference standings here once again. Check out some of the conference standing races that we should be on the lookout for as we get into his final third of the season, these last few weeks of college football here in the regular season. So that should all be a really fun episode. I'm really excited for it personally, and I hope you guys are as well. If you are, I do need you guys to go ahead, do me a favor, smack that like button for me, hit that subscribe button as well if you do have to be brand new to the channel. This is John J. Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.